Hello, everyone. Welcome to Golden Heart Connected. My name is Ren, and this is LJ.
Yes.
Today, we're going to be talking about The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And it's been a while since we've read this book, but we wanted to discuss it and give you our thoughts on it and maybe go into some things that he doesn't cover.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll be a book that you would want to check out. Why did we choose The Untethered Soul to start out with?
I would say because we thought it would be, I don't want to say easy, an easy read, but we thought it would be a good start into something we have already been talking about anyway, outside of even reading any literature, so.
Right. I think also because I had heard of Michael Singer. I had never read any of his stuff, but I have heard of him. And from what I had heard, he sounded like he was more secular when it comes to his beliefs, and how he talked about things were very straightforward. So I thought it might be an easier, thing to go over.
Right.
He might talk about it in a way that would be more understandable for someone that's not spiritual. Right. So that's kind of why. And then I was surprised to find that it was a fairly short book and an easy read. So yeah, so it just kind of worked out that way. How would you describe this book in one sentence to somebody that's never read it before? Ever feel like you're being watched? It's you.
It's you. It's yourself. The voice in your head is not you going crazy, okay?
Right. I think this book is a bridge type of book.
Yeah.
If you've never had anything to do with spirituality, no matter where you are, even if you have, wherever you are on your path, you will understand this book. I think it can help a lot with people that overthink.
Yeah.
Especially.
Definitely.
Overthinking, that's a big thing, and I think it can help with that.
I think it can help with people who are suffering with anxiety, a way to calm yourself and not be afraid of that voice that's just constantly going, constantly thinking. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think it's a great bridge book to help you just calm down and think.
Right.
Step outside of that constant need to validate things and just go within and think about it.
Right.
Separate yourself from it. Live through it.
Right. Yeah.
Live through it.
The first part of the book, the first half of the book, is pretty much that. Taking a step back from your feelings and your reactions and finding that watcher behind that. The idea that there's a you that exists that is behind the one that's your body and your mind.
Right.
That there is this soul or watcher or...
It's awareness.
Yeah, awareness, pure consciousness behind this everyday existence that you're having. And the idea that things are very temporary.
Right. Very temporary.
The situation you find yourself in is temporary. The feeling that you have of anger or resentment is temporary.
Yes.
And a way to go about dealing with those feelings by understanding where they are in the realm of the universe as a whole. Right.
Understanding that those things are you, but he made it seem like, yes, you are supposed to, Singer, I'm talking about Michael Singer, he makes it seem like you are those things, but it's in that moment. You're more so the awareness behind it. So he's really helping to understand that their inner voice, their inner monologue, those experiences, your emotions, you are in that moment, but you're more so the awareness of you going through those things. So that's what I took away from that first part.
The first part, yeah.
Few parts.
Yeah. I think I could tell from him, when he was going through explaining everything, he has to explain it in a certain way for people that have never heard this stuff before, right? But then he really starts to pop off when he gets to part 3 and further on in the book. You find that I felt like that's where his interest was peaking in what he was writing about. because he's been doing it for so long by the time he wrote this book that he was like, okay, I'm going to tell you guys about this, but now this is the fun part. Like when it comes to near the end of the book, I think he really is like really gets excited about the things that he's talking about.
For sure.
Yeah. I wonder if he would still find those things interesting or if he found another level to it. By now.
I'm pretty sure he's found another
I'm
level.
sure he's found another level. He's probably beyond other levels
Right.
to it. I would hope so. I think the thing is, it's definitely an ongoing process. So you can only explain things from where you're at.
Now, I
Right.
do feel like it's not something that you ever move past. You'll continuously experience it as you go, but you'll have a deeper level of understanding to
Right.
where you won't be in that situation or in that experience that long. You'll be able to be like, oh, that's it. This is how I feel. Okay, what can I do about it?
Right. Yeah.
How am I going to move forward?
Right.
How's it going to affect this?
It's like you notice it after the fact.
Yeah.
After you react to something.
For sure.
Like traffic.
Yes. Exactly.
Something we both have issues with. Someone cuts you off and then you react immediately. Right. And then you're like, oh, I can't believe I reacted that way.
Right.
Like, why am I doing this? Why is it that I'm like this? Why does that make me so angry? And then you go into that. And then when you find kind of the core behind that, then the next time someone cuts you off in traffic, you might have that brief second of acknowledgement before you react to it.
Right.
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 And then it's something that you have to keep working on.
Then,
right?
then it becomes something you can control.
Right, yeah. You just don't immediately get it.
Something you work daily on. Right. But hey.
Every day that I drive to work. And drive home.
For sure.
Yeah.
It becomes an unconscious thing. Like something that becomes innate. Like a learned behavior. For the most part.
Yeah. And I handle some situations much better now than I used to.
Yes.
Some I still have issues with.
Yes.
But, you know, I mean, I agree that you can step back from your reaction to things. And I've done that a lot. And I did it before I even knew about this or read this book. It's just that, like, if I was in a lot of pain and I was crying about something and really upset, I took a step back from myself, from my reaction, to observe myself and what I was feeling. It's a dangerous place to be because you can bypass by doing that, I think.
Right.
It makes you less feeling it and less in the moment of it and more just feeling like just watching yourself go through it, knowing that it's temporary, but it can kind of help you deal with it enough to get through it. Right. You're not always going to do that, but I can see where it can be used like that. And he never said to do that in this book, by the way. But I can see where people would.
And you would. It's natural. we all do it, but I feel like it's a good practice though. Because like you said, you step away from the situation, but you still are aware and can process it.
Right.
The thing is, you're trying to process it differently from your past.
Right.
So.
Because when you're in the middle of something, it's just very overwhelming, and you can't understand what's happening. You know.
Right.
So it's good to step back from it so that you can actually see it for what it is, and like see where it's coming from. You know, and that's how you start to work through it. Right.
For sure.
Yeah, it's not bypassing necessarily, but I could see where people would say that it was.
Yeah.
If you never deal with it.
True. Right.
And you just become this
this
rock
person.
Yeah, this just like stoic, like nothing touches me.
Right.
You know?
I'm gonna block that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to deal with it.
Right. I could see where people get stuck there and then validate it by his words or whatever.
Right. But like you said, that's when you become a rock. If you do like we said we do, we sit back, we process it, and be like, okay, I'm not gonna yell today. Or okay, I'm not gonna curse this person out for being stupid. So I feel like that's a good thing because we are aware of how we feel, but we're able to calm ourselves and change the outcome of what could have been versus what is.
Right. Instead of running them off the road,
Right.
I press the brake
Right.
and I stop in the middle of
I'm
the
like,
road
okay,
and wait for them to get out of my way.
Right. I'm going to process this differently. I'm
gonna
not going to force them and flash them and tell them, are they over here?
Honk and flip them off.
Right.
And
And then you also are able to, when you do that, you're also able to think of it from their perspective. It's like they
Right.
don't know.
Right.
They're driving too. They may be unaware that, oh, I'm in a rush, I'm late, or I'm in this lane. I feel like I'm driving pretty fast. But that person behind me is driving faster. And it's just like you are able to relate.
This is the first time I've gone out driving since 1996. I'm going to sit right in front of you.
Okay, it's triggering.
I can relate to that.
It's triggering, but it's just like, okay, calm down.
Driving probably isn't the best way to the best example.
It's really not.
It's really not the best example, but
It's okay. It's okay.
yeah, we'll come up with something else. Probably like
Yeah.
relationships. or
It's probably,
something.
it's kind of like my need to, I hate being coached,
Oh,
about
right,
things.
right.
and I have to take a step back and be like, okay, they're trying to be thorough. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
It's that situation. It's like I deal with it. I try to process it. But man, it's a struggle.
Passivity sometimes is not the answer.
You're true.
You know, I
True.
think that comes across in this book a little bit.
It does.
To be passive about it. Like,
It's
I
like
mean,
it's like a turn the other cheek that the Bible teaches.
right.
So
right. Because there are things that you should be, actually, you should be affected by everything.
you do. Yeah, because those are emotions.
Right.
They're real.
It's real.
They're real.
They're there. They're there
Thing
for a
is,
reason.
that's why you're supposed to become aware of them.
right.
So that you live through it and you can become this better person.
right.
But it's a battle. It's a
Yeah.
battle every day.
Yeah. Yeah. These things should affect you all
They
the
should.
time. It's just that your reaction to them should be one of response,
Right.
right? Instead of reaction.
Right.
So in order to get there, you have to see it for what it is. And this is kind of the path to get there, I think. It's one of the paths to get there. It's not that you should be an unfeeling cyborg of like some like stoic person that just sits there and not being affected by anything. You should be more involved in life, more feeling, more love, you know, and let things touch you. Like the whole idea behind it is that you are here to experience
Right.
life.
Right.
And in order to experience, you have to get the fear out of the way.
Have to.
Otherwise, you're not in the moment and you can't experience it for what it is.
Right.
You're always coming up with the next idea or not listening or whatever it might be.
But he also says, fear is never going to go away. He says that it's never
Right.
going to go away. It's something that the more you deal with it and call it what it is, the better you can face it.
Right.
And go about facing life. It doesn't entrap you, keep you enclosed into this bubble of uncertainty.
Is there a line or a chapter that immediately stood out to you and why?
I was always intrigued. I was intrigued by the first part a lot because the inner voice thing, the inner voice monologue thing. And it intrigued me because I agree with most of it.
Right.
But some of it I was like, oh, but I like that inner voice. I like when it talks to me.
Right.
But I've always recognized it as something to help me understand. I can see how for a beginner they're like, oh, I always just thought that was just like there. I thought it was my own individual instincts instead of this voice trying to help guide me along or something.
Yeah.
Get over a situation or understand the situation.
It's interesting for someone that is spiritual that's had an awakening. When was your awakening?
Mine was about 2020, around 2020.
Okay, yeah. So mine was around the same time. And after you awaken and have that experience, like I started channeling what I would call channeling. And so, yeah, the voice in your head isn't always your voice.
Right.
Right? So it's even a little more complicated, isn't it?
Yes. And so that's why I found it so intriguing. I was like,
Wow.
the way he says it, it's you.
Right.
It's you. It's you. But like you said, when you go through that awakening, it can become like, oh, that's not my voice.
No.
That is not my voice. Like, I don't know. How am I sitting here and I hear it clear? I just hear one clue word. And I can go on this wild tangent in my head of all this understanding and knowledge. And I'm like, how do I know that? And then you feel it. It's like, it's a knowing. Like,
Right.
I know this.
You're the one being like, how do I know that?
Right.
And the voice is not you. Yeah. So you guys will have to let us know. Those of you that understand this, like, let us know what you think about that, because that's very interesting when it comes to that, because this, yeah, it's different. It's not as simple as he claims it to be in this book.
It's not.
It's not. And there are a lot of
It's
things
not.
actually like that in this
Yes.
book that are not as simple as he makes it sound. I know why he would try to make it sound easy, because he wants to simplify it. And that's one of the reasons he didn't mention like Buddhism or Taoism or Hinduism in the book.
Right.
Because he wanted it to go to a whole bunch of the huge audience, not just those.
He talked about what?
He talked about chakras and Shakti.
and
Yeah.
chi.
Yeah, he did talk about, but he didn't mention them as a form of
No,
religious
he did.
practice.
He did.
So, yeah, so he did steer away from that in order to open up the audience for this, because it is a bridge book, right? Which he did a really good job doing, I think. But yeah, when it comes down to those that have had spiritual awakenings and experiences of things, it's a little more complicated than what he makes it sound.
Yes.
Yeah. What does your inner monologue sound like? What's your inner roommate sound like?
It's basically me. It's my voice. But it's like I practice it in my head. It's not an annoying toddler. I promise you. No, it's more so when I'm like, I'm thinking about something. Like I drive involves a lot of numbers. So it's like, I'm like, okay, 436, 429. And I'm trying to remember it and I'm just saying it in my head. I'm just repeating it in my head, and it's like, it's still me, but I'm aware of it, so I'm going to use it for its purpose.
Right. Yeah, mine likes to play out situations over and over again.
Mine can do that too.
It loves that.
If I think about it, and I can change it. And
yeah. Or something happens, I replay it. Oh, I should have said this.
Right, yeah.
Oh, could have got him good. Could have got him good if I would have done that.
Could have set the record straight.
Yeah.
Or it's like when we're typing out emails and it's like, how can I be professional?
I need ChatGPT
get my point across
to type this for me. Yeah. To be professional. It's editing a lot. It's a lot of editing.
It's a lot of editing. It's a lot of repetition. So it's patterns. He talks about this patterns. So
I have a lot of music that plays in my head.
I can hear music out throughout like random.
But I don't know if that's me or something else.
No, because it just pops up. So I don't think we're consciously just like, oh, I want to sing this song in my head.
Right.
No.
I didn't hear it. It's like a random song from the 80s or something.
When you hear like a clue word and you're like, oh, that was in this song. And you just sing it all day.
Right.
And you're like, why am I still singing this song? And I'm mad. I'm in this situation where I'm like, I'm frustrated, and this song is just playing through my head, and it's like a gospel song,
right,
or something.
right.
Yeah. That's what I take away from
yeah, random words.
Yeah,
they just pop up.
They do. Well, no, we can be in conversation like now, and we could say like we're talking, and we say race car, and then I start thinking about Cars the movie. I'm thinking about it now, and I'm thinking about Rascal Flatts. Life is a highway.
Oh my God. Woo. Do you think detaching from the inner voice could make someone feel disconnected or more connected?
Me personally, I would feel disconnected. Because I'd be like, why is it not there? Why haven't I had this inner monologue and I'll be like, oh, something's wrong. Something's blocked.
Right.
I blocked something. What is it?
Yeah.
So I would feel detached. How would you?
Both. You could use it for both. I would use it emotionally. I would use it to detach emotionally. But I think in detaching from your mind that's going over, oh, you can't do this. Oh, you shouldn't do that. Oh, you'll never do this.
For sure.
Oh, it tried to keep you safe. I try to look at it like it's trying to keep me safe at all times. It's like there just to keep me safe, or to occupy itself by like counting numbers, for instance, just to stay busy. But on the other hand, it's just looking for those things that are a challenge, that might upset me, that might throw me off, that might cause change in my life. And it tries to keep that from happening. And so when I turn it off and I actually step back from it, that's when I can make a decision to change.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It
helps.
makes sense.
It helps me.
But you're more so. I'm still working on dealing with like actual life stuff, like
Right.
doing it. Rather than, it's not me making an excuse, because I become aware. I use that voice to become aware of why aren't I doing this. So I use it in that way, and that's kind of like a form of detachment. But instead of wallowing in those emotions or that experience, that's what I do. I want to figure it out immediately. I'm like, okay, why am I crying? Or, okay, why did that make me so angry?
Why are you doing this?
Right. So I use that voice to like kind of work through it.
Right.
To explain it in a way that I can understand what's going on and apply it to real life and actually work through it.
Right.
So that's what I've been working on.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like detachment, but
yeah, I mean it is. Otherwise, you just be like, stupid. I'm so stupid for crying. I can't believe I'm feeling this. Like I should be stronger than this, and then you would shut down.
Right.
And you wouldn't look any further. That's the thing. If you continue to look, you are doing the work. Like that's what it is.
So that's like the situation with my father. So I've been we bump heads. So it's like Lauren, just talk about it, get a better understanding. And when I do that, it's like, okay, we can work through this.
You can get somewhere.
Right. I understand why you feel that way, or I understand why it's like this between us.
Right. And you can honor that, like what he's feeling and what he's going through, while still honoring yourself and what you're going through and how you see it too. Right. And that way you can actually do something with that energy. Otherwise it just shuts down and you can't do anything.
And we're just like, okay, forget it.
Yeah, I'll talk to you next week sometime.
This is just how we feel. Live with it.
Right. He talks about keeping your heart open even when it hurts. What does that mean to you in practice?
You know what? I've gone through it.
Yeah.
I've gone through it. And to me, that's when you're hurt. A situation or a relationship you thought you had hurt you deeply, betrayed you. And when you just let it ride out and you don't address it, and you become that relationship changes completely, and you just detach from it without even trying to understand the other perspective. You're just like, oh no, you hurt me. You cut me deep.
Shut the door.
Wall.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop doing this like I used to. I'm going to stop doing that for you. I'm not going to talk to you every day like I used to. I'm going to remove myself from your space, when all that is doing is hurting you. Because now you closed off your heart.
Right.
And you're like, I know I still love this person, but I'm not going to show them that affection anymore. To protect yourself. Because
I'm scared.
You think you're doing it to protect yourself.
Right.
But what you're actually doing, you're blocking your heart chakra, because it hurts. Let me tell you, it hurts.
Yeah.
And it will cause you to go through so much trauma instead of just discussing the situation, figuring out what happened, Yes, you feel hurt. You describe that hurt to them, but don't block it off.
Right.
Don't block it off.
Yeah.
You become such a cold person.
Yeah.
It will totally change who you are. You won't even notice it. You think you're protecting yourself when actually you're closing yourself off.
Right.
And stunting everything else that's going on in your life.
I think being hurt, you learn a lot. Learning through pain, and he talks about that in here. It causes change in your life, right? And you can choose to, cut yourself off and not grow from it, or you can keep your heart open and continue to grow. It's your choice. Like, you have a choice on what you want to do with it. I think I can feel love for someone, even if they aren't a part of my life. And I try to be as compassionate and as understanding as I possibly can. And while maintaining that compassion for myself.
Right.
Like, if I'm angry, I'll be like, I'm angry, and that is okay. Like, I can be angry, but it's temporary.
Very.
It's temporary. And I'm very hurt by what happened. And it's a situation that happened, but I know that they were doing what they thought was best for themselves.
Right.
And I could never not love somebody for doing that for themselves, even if it wasn't what I wanted. Right. So that's how I try to look at things now, and it helps.
Yeah.
Not all the time, because you do need to work through those things and own those emotions and the hurt and whatever happened. However you feel is how you feel, and it is okay to feel that.
Right.
Keeping your heart open while you're in pain is a difficult. Holding both of those things at the same time is really difficult.
I think it's too because your expectations change for that person thing that hurt you.
Right.
And so you're like, my whole outlook of you has completely shattered, and now we're having to work through how to rebuild that connection, but from a space to where it's not one-sided as it was. Because I expected you to act like this because I act like this. I expected you to do this because I did this. So now you're like, I'm going to come into the situation aware of the things you did to hurt me. And I need to figure out how I can love you for the person you are instead of the expectations I had of you.
Right. The person I wanted you to be.
Right.
I need to love you as the flawed human being that you are.
Right, because I am too.
Right, exactly.
But in this relationship, I didn't do those things that you did to me.
I didn't hurt you.
Right.
Right.
And then you can make that decision on if I want that person in my life.
Right. Yeah. And
because if this is who you are, I don't want that around me.
Right.
I can't. It's not that I accept you for who you are, but I understand you for who you are.
I can love you from afar.
Right.
Absolutely.
And if I have to keep my distance, I will.
If it means that I have to give up myself.
Right.
Or abandon myself
time.
In order to love you.
Right.
To be with you in the physical, that's not going to happen.
Right.
I've learned too much. I don't abandon myself. I don't give to people that are just going to keep taking from me. And I'm okay with letting you go live your life in the way that you would like to live it, but I get that choice as well.
Right.
And I allow that.
Right.
Yeah. Was there any concept that he talked about in this book that you did not agree with?
Not really. Because I guess it would have been, if it hadn't been anything, it would have been the detaching from my inner voice.
Right.
So that's about it.
The problem I had with this book is that he made it sound so easy. He made it sound like it's the easiest thing. Just step back behind yourself, behind your mind. And I'm going to take a few chapters to explain this to you. And yeah, it's simple. Duh. Right?
I feel like,
it almost came across like that.
True.
I get why he did it that way. But at the same time, it's like,
no, sir.
Even when you think that you have stepped behind your mind, you still haven't done it. Because the moment you give it a name, like the witness, that's your mind saying that. So when I really was trying to do this, I really did try to step behind. And the first time I did, it felt like an alien presence. It felt foreign. Like, it was actually, my mind like created almost a monster behind.
Really?
It was scary. Yes, yes. And I was like, that was really, really strange. And then I tried it again later, and it put behind like a mothering feeling, presence. And I'm like, that's not right, because it's a mind. Mind is creating that.
Right.
So it's a concept. Anytime that there's a concept, that's your mind
Right.
creating that. So what is it? You can't even call it it.
I don't know.
Because that's your mind.
I always just thought of it as like my higher self.
That's not it.
That's crazy.
That's like the first step, right? Like, that's what I thought at first too. And I was like, but that can't be right. Because what this book did is it made me ask more questions.
Right.
And so I was like, well, how can that be, like, the idea that you're watching yourself? But it can't be, because I'm still at the same time having an idea of what that means. Like, to be like better myself or something, or to watch me go through something. But I still have this feeling inside that I care about that. I think what I've come to realize is that it's a space.
Right.
It's a space where everything is born from. Your body, your mind, everything around you is born from that space. That's the watcher space. And it's not that it doesn't care about you. You know, it's a big idea. Like, we're on a piece of dirt flying around a star. You know, like it's a big thing. Like, it's infinite.
Right.
This space. And it's like you just can't fathom it. Right? Your mind just can't grasp what that could be.
Right.
And it's not that it doesn't care about you. I mean, it's like us watching a raindrop in a rainstorm. Why would it give a shit? Right?
Right.
It's just another raindrop.
Exactly.
Right? And so I was like, well, but I think the idea is that it's more like the ocean watching a wave. Does it cry about the wave going up and down? Or does it realize that that wave has always been part of the ocean? Right? It's kind of like that. Like, it's not that you're separate. You never are separate from it. You're a creation of it. You are it. And so this, I know it's going way far into this, but he's like, we weren't supposed to talk about this. He did not say that in this book.
He didn't.
The idea of the watcher goes so much deeper.
Yeah.
And is so much more than what he covers in this book.
It is.
And it's almost, how he says it is kind of like the first step to it, but it should give you more questions about it. Because if you were to practice the things he says in this book about stepping behind yourself and your reactions, it goes so much more than that. It is so much more than that. And this is a good intro, but ask more questions.
Yes.
I think.
I think it's like you said, it's a bridge to ask more questions.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
He wants you to delve deeper.
He wants you to. Yeah. And that's why he keeps it open for everybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There's my little joke. The watcher is not who you think they are.
They're not.
How do you personally navigate teachings that don't fully align with your beliefs?
I'm a very arguable person. So the way I go about it
I
now,
like that.
the way I go about it now is not very, let's see, self-aware.
Block.
I would go about it and I think I would try to understand it more.
Yeah.
I would try to understand it more so that I can argue against it. To tell you why it's
so
wrong.
I can use it against you. Such a Scorpio. So I can use it against you. That's why.
So that's like my first thing that I do.
Right. I think
I try to understand it more, and then I want to talk about it. But like,
why do you believe that?
what makes you think that way?
Why are you the way you are?
Why do you think that's okay? And then I'm going to throw in something of my beliefs, and I'm going to be like, so
I'm right.
how would you use this to negate this?
Oh my God.
These are the arguments I have with my dad.
Right.
But what about this? It's like, yes, I get that. And it's like two in the same, but it's like, no, I would not go about it that way.
I think I try to find the common thread that is underneath whatever they're discussing, and try to find that underlying truth, and take off all the packaging, right? And get to the bottom of it, like why that belief system exists in the first place, why that teaching, because underneath it is a very basic human need, and I can understand that, right? Even if I don't agree with the package that it came in. And that's what I try to do with all of them. I try to approach it with curiosity.
Right.
You know, I don't believe in fairies, but that'd be really cool if they were. Right. So I want to learn about it, you know? True. That's really cool that you can, you know, that you believe in that. And that's amazing. And I wish I could do that. Why is it that you believe in this, you know? And then get into that. Get into the underlying belief system underneath it.
True.
Because I think that's where we find our connection to everybody. Honestly. So I love that. I love exploring that. It's really cool. Yeah. Instead of using it against somebody.
I don't use it against him. I use it to argue. Yeah. Like, I use mine. I argue to find that common thread so that we can discuss it.
So I can prove to you how wrong you are.
No, I'm trying to find relatable stuff, okay?
Sure, okay. Is there an idea from this book that you're actually trying to apply right now?
Letting go of fear. Recognizing that fear is never going to go away. You can't just be like, oh, I'm fearless. But you're going to feel fear.
But do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
That's why we're sitting here right now. Yes. This is the example of that.
And I think that's one thing with, you know, my experiences I have. Bizarre experiences. And it's like, I've become numb to it almost. But I'm still fearful of it. Because I go into a flight or flight reaction. So I'm trying to recognize that.
It's surprising when it happens.
I'm trying to recognize that fear isn't something that I can get rid of.
Right.
And that's why I think I'm battling with.
I should be
able to
handle this without being scared.
Right.
I should understand this by now.
Right. So that's one thing I would say. Yeah,
like owning your emotion. You know, even if it might not be the one that you want to have, you want to be further along or whatever. But
right. That's my thing. It's like I should be past this right now. And it's like I stand in the fear, but I become so to where I'm standing in my fear, and I'm wanting to control the situation instead of experience it or live through it or let it play out
the way it needs to.
Understand what's going on instead of like, oh no, it's an attack. It's they want something from me.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's what
immediately judging it.
Right. Immediate judgment. And that's what I'm working on, because in real life I'm not a judgmental person. So it's just like,
you're not.
Like that. And when I'm in those types of situations and experiences, it's like, oh, I'm judging you. Even though you may be here to help me, tell me something to help me get past this.
Right.
Immediate judgment. This may be a test, and I done judged you and failed. So that's what I'm struggling with right now. That's
I get that.
One thing I like about that.
I get that. Yeah, I think I started noticing my triggers a lot more. And I've been working on it for a long time, but actually getting to the bottom of why I have them. So it kind of started working me towards like healing from childhood trauma and things like that, and understanding that those situations are something that I don't have to keep carrying with me.
Right.
Like that they were something that happened, and even understanding that I was a child and not an adult. I can wonder about things, but some things I'm not going to have answers for.
Right.
And just to look at how that child might have felt, or how that's affecting me and my behavior now, in my relationships with people, in the things that I do to run away from things or to bypass things, like recognizing my triggers and why I get so upset when someone does something specific. And it's a specific thing or a specific person, right? Like, why does that person set me off so bad? You know, where is that coming from? But I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't take that first step back from how I'm feeling.
Right.
You know, if you immediately just fly off the handle about stuff, you're never gonna know like what's going on underneath it. Because really, when someone triggers you, you're the one with the issue. Is what you have to realize. Like, you're the one with the problem,
Right.
not them.
Right. And that's sometimes a hard pill to swallow.
It is very hard to swallow.
Like,
yeah.
oh, I'm not the problem.
Right.
No.
They're an asshole.
Right.
That's the problem.
They're overbearing. That's the problem.
But someone else can come into contact with that person and not have a problem. Right? So you know that problem...
Could be in the same situation.
Yeah, same situation. That person is a total different experience. Yeah. So you know that you are the one with the issue here. Right. It might be that it's good that you have that issue. You know, sometimes those triggers are there for you to stand up for yourself, or to stand up for others, or something morally, you know, good to get angry about and get upset about. But there are some things, those little everyday triggers, that really shouldn't be happening. Like, you're overreacting to something, but you need to understand that I have this feeling, and I'm seeing that I'm having this feeling about this, and it's okay to be upset about this, but I'm finding that there's a disconnect here between what happened and my feelings about it. So why is it that it's feeling this way? Right. And how can I work through these things?
I think I just unconsciously do that. I don't think I've just ever just sat in and tried to understand what that trigger is. But like, when I'm triggered in a situation I know I shouldn't be triggered in, it's just like, why did that make you so angry? Or why did you immediately get anxious? Or why did you immediately get irritated and just space out? Right.
Disconnect yourself. Disconnect yourself from the situation. See? It's a learning experience.
It is.
And not judging yourself on how you react.
Right.
Your reaction is valid, no matter if it's off the handle or whatever. It's valid because something happened to cause that reaction.
Right.
You just don't know where it's coming from. And it might not be a specific situation or something that happened to you, but it could be just a multitude of things, small things that have led you to believe that you are in some kind of danger. Right. Or have fear of something that you feel triggered by. So, and it's good to understand these things. And this book would be a good way to take your first step into doing so.
I agree.
Has reading this changed how you handle stress, relationships, or inner conflict?
Maybe stress. Because I use my inner voice to go in and think about the situation, so that I'm not totally triggered by my stress, where I'm going to allow something to take me out of character or make me feel like I can't handle it. So I use it that way, I think. Right.
I don't think this book changed how I'm doing things, but it reminded me.
Right.
It reminded me of some of this. Because when you get into spirituality to begin with after an awakening, you come across these concepts without having read this.
Yes.
You know, and you're just kind of trying to figure it out with a whole bunch of different people talking about it. Like, it's just something that you come into. But I think this reminded me a little bit about the beginning of my spiritual journey, when this stuff was really new to me. And
it was just happening.
It was just happening, and the ideas behind it. And now it's like I'm further along in my journey now. So it had me start asking bigger questions about it. It's like, now that I've gone through a lot of the internal stuff. I can actually start to open up to more things.
Right.
Like, which is why, like, my spiritual journey so far has been me isolated, basically. I've really tried to stay away from any type of gurus or, teachings, or I haven't read anything, and because I really wanted to figure it out on my own.
Right.
And I tried to keep myself away from a lot of stuff like that. And you come across it no matter what, just watching reels or whatever, like you'll come across stuff, but I really did try to just figure it out on my own. And now I've gotten to a point where I'm just really curious now, because I feel more grounded in myself that I can do that now. It's like I feel safe enough to do that. I think that's it. Did you have anything else you want to talk about?
Not really. I think he did a good job of introducing the concepts. But for, like you said, for us, we talked about it work.
Right.
So
we need the next volume.
Right.
We need the next book.
So it's just, like you said, it was just a reiteration of what I already knew.
Right.
And it helped me to become more aware of me actually practicing those concepts.
I want to know, these concepts are so baked in now to spiritual practices and understanding now. But I'm like, okay, so what if we don't believe that? What else is there? I want to explore more, which is great. Like, that's a great sign of a book.
I guess that would be more so like, you're saying outside of beliefs? Are you saying what's more out there outside of beliefs?
What if it's not the Watcher? What if it's something else? What else is there? This is only one concept.
Right.
I mean, it's a collection of different belief systems, but what if that concept isn't, what's beyond that concept? Is there something else? Or maybe there's something different than that. Is there another way to look at it? Like, it started me asking more questions, of course. So I think that's kind of where I want to go now. I need junior courses.
I never really even thought about it.
I know. The thing is that we don't question it, because it just seems so like, yeah, of course, Michael Singer, this is how it is. But not necessarily.
I think there's an all-knowing.
I don't know.
Because what created, I think about, like, what created the universe.
Right.
And stuff like that. So I think there's one particular thing that created.
You do?
Everything, yeah. Not just the world, but the universe, thought, all of it.
But what is it?
I don't know.
Why can't you answer my questions?
I don't know. But I do believe them. And I think it's outside of belief. I think it's just pure thought. Like.
But it's not thought.
It's creation. Pure creation.
I don't know. I want to see I want to see outside the box. This is a box. Pretending not to be a box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I wonder what he would say about that.
Because I don't think I'm in a box right now.
You don't?
No.
He talks about that in the book. About you creating walls for yourself.
Right. Oh.
While he's creating walls. About there not being walls.
I think it's more so making you aware that
there will always be walls.
Yeah.
There will always be walls.
Right.
Just like there's always fear, right?
Right.
That's what you were talking about. Because we feel safe in those walls. Even if we're trying to not have them. I want to expand beyond walls.
You just want to Pure energy. That's what we are. Pure energy. I think that's exactly what we are. That's what we're trying to get to. Just be pure energy.
In my pea brain, in my life, I can try to have less fear. And that's all I can do. When it comes to those things, I would love to explore it. I don't think I will ever understand it. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to not have any walls. Probably not, but I want to try.
That's all we can do.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us on our little discussion here. Thank you, LJ.
Oh, no problem.
For coming and talking with me about this.
Anytime. It's like everyday conversation.
It is. Yeah, I'll come to him in the morning being like, so, I've been thinking about the universe today. He's like, I just got up this morning. I haven't even had any bacon yet.
I need my energy.
I can't do this right now. Stop sharing videos with me. Thank you for joining us. Let us know what you thought about this book if you've read it. If you haven't read it and would like to get my copy here, signed by LJ and I, put a horse emoji down below and I will comment on your comment and have you email me your information and send this book to you. You must live in the US though, because I can't afford to send it across the world. So maybe eventually like and subscribe. All right. So thank you guys so much for joining us. And until next time.
Until next time.
Bye-bye. And watch, like, we won't have heard anything.
No audio.
No audio the whole time.
I'm trying to be serious over here. You're just like. Okay.